Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is April Whitlock. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out our live tonight, as well as following up and watching it later. I am the owner and CEO of Fundanoodle, and I like to call myself Ambassador number one because I was really the first person to become a Fundanoodle Ambassador and to figure out how to do tonight is just take a little bit of time, but to give an overview of what Fundanoodle is, because I get asked that all the time. People see my Facebook or my LinkedIn profiles and they're like, Funda Doodle, Funda what? What does that mean? So talk a little bit about who we are and what we do, and also want to share a little bit about the Ambassador program, why we started it, kind of the history behind it, and the way it works, because it's pretty unique. In this direct sale world, what we're doing is a little different and unique, and we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about it. So we have some of our current ambassadors will be, if you look at the comments, they're chiming in and saying hello. So you can direct questions to them, and I'll do my best to try to, look at any questions as well. And so if you watch this later and you're not live, and 9 o'clock is a tough time for you, or it's only 6 o'clock where you are, and it's the middle of dinner time, we will monitor the comments over the next few weeks as well, and make sure that we're answering any questions that you have about the program. So we'll get started. Just a little bit about myself. I am kind of a not an OT and not a teacher. I'm a business person, marketer really at heart, who just fell in love with this product about 6 years ago when it was first being developed, and really saw from the beginning that it just had so much potential to change the way that children learn in terms of their hands-on learning. I have 3 daughters. Back to school was a big day for us yesterday. I sent one to high school for the first time, so it was a little much. One to high school, one back to middle school in 7th grade, and we have a first grader. So I've been able to have a lot of in-house opportunities as well, my own little muses over the years, to use the product and to see how it works and impacts with them. But really, what is Fundanoodle? So we are an early education product brand. Our products were designed in partnerships with pediatric occupational therapists and elementary educators. So what we want to do with everything we design is we want to take the best of the occupational therapy world, all about developing fine motor skills and gross motor skills and hand-eye coordination and all the things that have to be developed well in the body for a child to learn. We want to take the best of that world and combine it with the best of early elementary education. So the things that children need to hit the ground running when they go to kindergarten and to pre-K, working on their letters, understanding basic math concepts, having the ability to think creatively, and having the visual perception to find things in different puzzles and mazes. So all of our products combine the best of both of those worlds in a really colorful and fun and durable, hands-on way, and very cost-effective, by the way, so that as parents or as teachers, you can feel very comfortable that you're giving your child a product that has been thoroughly tested and has a lot of academic and medical from the OT field thought around how it was developed and what it does. Your child, on the other hand, they're just having fun. They have no idea that there's so much going on in their brain development and then their body development while they're using these tools. But as a parent, you can rest easy that A, there's no batteries, there's no noise, there's no screen, and that you're doing the thing, you're giving your child the tools that they need to meet their developmental milestones, because our products really focus on this 2.5 to 6 years old. And that's when the body is primed to build up these fingers and hand muscles and this wrist control to build up the core for sitting still and learning in a class or sitting in a classroom, to build up hand-eye coordination and the ability, cross-body exercises so the brain knows how to go from one side to the other in a thinking pattern. All those things, the body is designed to do that and to make those things just perfect in that 2.5 to 6 year time frame. The problem is today we have this, the world's best babysitter in a lot of situations, and we have iPads, and we have all these touchscreen technology pieces that 6, 7, 8 years ago didn't exist. And there are wonderful ways to use these tools with your children, but these should not be the only tools, and that's what we're seeing. More and more parents are starting to rely on this phone and an iPad for the educational development of a 3, 4, and 5-year-old, and in detriment to their development. They're taking physical things away from them and getting more of this screen where the only thing we're really developing is this one index finger and how to swipe. We're not working on the rest of the body. So we have things, and I'm just show you a couple things. We have products that are designed to kind of parallel with that, because we know technology is not going away. We know you're going to use it. I use it. I get emails from my kid's teacher. They have to do homework on it in the 1st grade. It's not going away, but it's about teaching parents that you can go too far to the other extreme, and you have to bring back the hands-on learning piece of it as well. So things like the most popular thing that we have is our iCompound kit. And this kit, the basics, it's a really durable, heavy foam board. I love having old ones to show people how it just never falls apart. Heavy foam board that comes with the hammer. Now you can't tell on the screen how awesome this hammer is, but this hammer is weighted. It's designed to be heavy, so a child's going to have to hold on tight. It works their grip and their hand strength and their wrist control when they're pounding into the page. We have pages that a young child can start on with shapes and learning their colors. We have pages like this with uppercase and lowercase letters. Everything's designed so that they're working on a kinetic way of I'm learning how to form this letter without worrying about putting the pencil in my hand yet. Because when I do this and I pick up a peg with one hand and I push it in the hole with that hand, and I take my writing hand and I pound it in, I'm doing a cross-body exercise that's teaching my brain how to go from right to left, and that's working on building up the strength in my hands and my wrist control. All things that I'm going to have to do using those hands, both of those hands in partnership when I go into a classroom if I'm a little learner. All things that you don't get at all from interaction with the screen. So that's just one example. We have awesome things like our muscle mover cards that sure you're like, oh yeah, another set of flashcards, like who needs those? But these are amazing. They're heavy laminate. And on the opposite side of each letter is a very unique animal and a OT-based activity. So they're running like an antelope. So not only is the child going to run like an antelope so they can get some wiggles out before they're setting down to do work, running is going to work different parts of their body, work their gross motor skills, but an antelope is going to spark a whole conversation about a different animal and introduce a whole new vocabulary word that a 3 and 4-year-old may have never heard of before. On the flip side of each of these cards, you see the shaded of a letter and our green and red lines that we like to use when we're teaching children how to write, to understand where to start and where to stop. Now these are heavy laminate and they come with a dry erase pen. But even before you give the child the pen to practice on, we recommend and we sell different kits with it with Play-Doh and Wiki sticks. So you can sit down and let your child shape the Play-Doh out to the shape of the letter or the Wiki stick. So they're getting that fine motor exercise. But also the brain is learning, oh my goodness, look how an A is shaped. An A is shaped with 2 angles and a straight line. And my brain's going to remember that because I shaped a piece of Play-Doh and did it. And while I was shaping that Play-Doh, I was working the fingers of my hand. So my hand's going to be stronger. So when you finally do hand me that pencil, Mom, I'm going to remember how that A was shaped, but I'm also going to have the strength in my hand to write it well. And that's just kind of the background of a lot of the things that we do. They're fun, engaging activities. They're easy for a parent to use. You don't have to have a PhD in education or be an occupational therapist. You literally open up the box and a child can take it from there. They're designed to be intuitive. They're designed to be fun. They're designed to be confidence building. We have all kinds of activity books as well. So our green level is our highest level, our level 3. And this book is our writing stories book. So once we're older, we're a kindergarten, first grade child, what we're working on with here is they're working on starting to master their thought process. And how do they put thoughts together in a way that they can start writing content down the road. And this is a great way, too, when a child learns how to manage their thought process and manage their words in this way, it sets them up for long-term problem-solving activities and even coding down the road. And the last product that I'll show you, because I always show this because this is fun, but our scissors. So the sad thing is so many preschools these days, as well as kindergartners, have completely taken the scissors out of the classroom because there's been too many incidents of a haircut or clothes being ruined. But learning how to cut is one of the most important skills that your little learner needs, not because they're going to, they need to be a seamstress down the road or whatever with cutting, but they need to cut because of what that skill does, working in the hand and working on the fingers that are eventually going to hold that pencil. They need to learn how to cut for what it does with their concentration and their hand-eye coordination. So we developed these, and there's nothing that they're going to hurt at all. See? At all. Nothing's going to hurt, or themselves, their clothes, but they're going to be able to cut paper. And these are our magic scissors. People love these. But what's important about these is we want you as an ambassador and parents to feel comfortable buying these and having them laying out for use whenever, wherever, by their 2.5 and 3-year-old, so that their 2.5 and 3-year-old can teach themselves how to cut, because they're going to hold it wonky and weird, and they're going to do all kinds of things in the beginning, and that's okay. We want them to figure it out for themselves with some guidance. But when they master it on their own, the confidence level to what that does for a little learner is phenomenal. So that's what we want to be able to offer parents as well as teachers, are some easy, fun ways, cost-effective ways to introduce hands-on learning in your home or in your classroom without hours of instruction guides and lots of tears from your little one because they're not doing it right. There's no way to do some of this stuff wrong. You just do it, and it's intuitive, and they love it. So that is a little bit about the product. And again, I cannot keep, I don't know how people do these lives where they answer all these questions. I cannot keep up with this. I am trusting my amazing ambassadors that have joined in are going to be answering questions for me here on the side. But if there's anything urgent, my girls know, this phone's right here. And I know I just said don't have your phone around all the time, but it's like, what does I say, not as I do. It's what I tell my first grader all the time. But if there's something big I need to look at, I know one of my girls might actually, they'll text me, right, and let me know, April, you have to answer this question. So we will move on a little bit. That was about the product. So the product has been around. You probably have never heard of it if you're joining us for the first time, but it's actually been around for in the marketplace for about 5 years. It originally started out in the retail world, and it was in places like Target and Toys R Us and a lot of specialty stores like the Brilliant Skies and different places. But when I was working on this, I was a product manager for this product, the company that developed it. What I kept seeing at the retail space was no one got it. No one understood that if I had a box that was full of these multicolored magnets that were these different shapes, no one could look at that in a box and say, okay, why do I need that? But when I would go to a teacher conference or to a parent fun kids activity zone, and I'd have these laying out, and you're able to show the parent is that, look, we're going to make an R, and we're going to make an R with a red and an orange and a pink. And can you find the red and orange and pink? And can you put it together and figure out how to make your R with these really strong magnets? And then look at those colors that reminds the child how to make the R. When we were doing those in person with people, they would fly off the shelves. I mean, you're saying the same thing. You see what these scissors do and you want them. But if he saw these scissors sitting on the shelf, he'd be like, what do I need another pair of safety scissors for? I have 15 at home and none of them work the right way. So what I kept seeing over time was that there was what we do has to be hands-on, because we teach hands-on learning, we have to sell in a hands-on way. And I knew 4 years ago that we needed to be some type of home party model. We needed to be a way that people could sit across from each other and say, do this, or let your child play with this and see how they engage. So after I bought the company and kind of extracted us from our retail relationships, I decided that it was time that we needed to figure out, how could we do this? How could we fit in the direct sale world, which is just a really unique and broad space? If you keep up with the industry, there's been a lot of not so positive articles that are always written about the space, about pyramid schemes, or about people spending way too much money to make nothing, and all these different things. And we wanted to make sure that we kind of were different and set ourselves apart. But the main reason we wanted to be in the direct sale space was because what I saw over and over and over again was that for this to be successful, you had to build relationships with the people that you were talking to. You built relationships with the mom who just got told by their kindergarten teacher that their child needs a referral to an OT, and she doesn't know where to begin on how to help her child. You need relationships at the school level when you have a preschool director down at the church three miles down from you who's calling you and saying, oh my God, I have a class of 4-year-olds who can't fold paper. They can't even do it. Their hands are so weak. What can I do? You need those relationships at the ground level to be able to go in and say, look at all these solutions that we have for you. And the only way to do that is to look at some type of direct sell model where you have local ambassadors in their markets building their own business in their surroundings. And so I always mix up the years. It's 2017. So late 2014, I decided, we need to test this. We need to figure out. And so we put a pilot program together. We kind of threw it out there to the wind, and we found about 15 people across the country who said, you know what, I'll test this with you and figure it out. And we tested everything. We tested the models where you have to buy inventory and then hold the inventory and sell it. We tested all different types of models. And we kept coming back to, in the industry, what's called the party model. We kept coming back to, it needs to be set up in such a way that you are interacting with people, and that when they see you, they're able to touch and feel this. Because as great as this live thing is, and I do have lots of ambassadors who are starting to be very successful with the live events and doing things online, nothing beats with our product being in person and being in front of that mom and letting her see her child like pitch a fit when you take this away from them, because they love it so much and they don't want you to take it away. So we started testing and saying, what do we do and how do we be different? And so we launched the Ambassador program after almost a year of testing, a complete revamp of all of our marketing materials, and a major investment in a industry software that would really allow everyone to have the tools they need to run their business. We launched last year, late January, kind of early February. So we're about a year and a half into the model. And it's just so empowering is one word, gratifying is another, and kind of like pat on the back, like, I told you so, April. 4 years ago, I said this is what we needed to do. It took longer than I thought to get here, and we are growing slow because we are growing with the people who really want to partner with us and people who truly have a passion for early education. Because at the end of the day, that's really all it takes to be successful here, is to have a passion for early education and the desire to do the work and to build the relationships that are going to expand your market for the product. So what do we do to help you? Well, we have, of course, we have phenomenal marketing. We have a beautiful product anyway that's so colorful. So all of our brochures, our marketing materials, all the ads that we push out for our ambassadors to you, everything is just done beautifully to be able to give you the tools that you need. But we also start you with, you join under a team member who's able to give you coaching and training. We have a training portal with lots of information, but we do, because we are still very much ground floor and small, we do a lot of one-on-ones using this Facebook. So we have Facebook groups. We do Facebook Lives all the time. The ambassadors that we have are just so passionate and awesomely sharing, wonderful people, because we do this thing called Ambassador Live. So an ambassador will go live on our group page and we'll talk about what they did, how they set up at a vendor show that was great, or how they're doing something a little bit different, or they'll share their personal skill set. Because we have ambassadors who are current teachers or former teachers. We have ambassadors who are occupational therapists and speech pathologists. We have ambassadors who are homeschool moms and amazing bloggers. And we have ambassadors who are just like me, just a mom who's really into early education and is looking, for a way to help their family by helping their community and helping other moms. When we talk about selling the product, we have several different ways. Our signature event we call the play date. And the reason we call the play date is because what we do is fun and it's play. And in most instances, a play date means you bring your kids. And when you bring your kids and you have the product laying out and the kids start playing it and they pitch a fit when you want to take something away from them, then their mom's like, yeah, I want that. Can I get that too? And so we have play dates where they bring their kids. We have some moms who are killing it with play dates that are just for moms only, and they're more like your traditional party. We do things like fundraisers. So we've taken 10 of our products and we've created a fundraising program with them, very much like selling Girl Scout cookies or Yankee candles or anything like that. So a nonprofit, whether it's a school, a church, whatever, can use these order forms or online, and they can sell our product instead of candy or gift wrap or all the stuff they've always sold before, and earn cash for their business. And that's a way for you to earn your commissions and grow as well. We have something called a gift services program, so that if you're working with an aunt or a mom or a grandmother who's looking for the perfect gift for their child, at each of our 3 age levels, we have a gift program so that the customer pays one time and we send the child over 4 months, we send them 4 different products. And the product comes with these awesome postcards that tell the parents how to use it and what's happening with their child's development with these cards. So the child's getting something in the mail each month when they do these. We have some ambassadors who are focusing their business on schools, preschools, pre-K programs, daycares, even kindergartens, because where our success comes in a public or a private or a charter school setting is at that teacher level. Because trust me, I trained kindergarten and first grade teachers this week, and they see it. They are the biggest advocates. They are the ones who'll tell you that kids come in holding their pencils like this and they can't cut, and they're writing all their letters from the bottom up, and they don't know how, and they don't want to write because it hurts, and they don't know how to do certain things because we're not working on those things at home like we used to. So we have some ambassadors who they don't do play dates and they don't do these things with moms. They focus on schools, and they've built relationships with schools, so they're generating annual revenue each year with the school system, or they're going in with the schools and doing the fundraisers or doing something like our learning fair, which is very similar to like a Scholastic's book fair where the school earns free product based on what the parents buy. So there's so many different ways to grow your business. We have some folks who do tons of vendor shows. They love it. They love being in front of people. They know how well the product moves when people get to touch and feel it, especially moving in here in the holidays. I mean, I like to say this all the time. I mean, not around my first grader, but I like to say Santa brought a lot of I Can Pound kits last year. They were really kicking at the North Pole. Those elves were knocking them out. So our products do really well for birthdays and at the holidays. So a lot of ambassadors build their business with vendor shows and things of that sort. Other ones that have more of this educational mindset, they go to teacher conferences and preschool teacher training conferences. So the cool part about this is that there isn't one formula to be successful. There's definitely the the basic tenets of this business still apply. You still have to make the cold calls. You still have to talk to people about the opportunity. You still have to actually, sell and do the work. But the cool part of what we are offering right now is that you get to pick your path, and you get to work with me sometimes. I love helping people, or we've got a really great group of leaders and our founding ambassadors, the folks who joined us in that first year, who are constantly giving of their time and energy to help people find the best way for them with their skill set and with their personality to grow their business. So like I said, some people, they grow without growing team members. They're doing great, and they're just focused on, they want to sell the product and get the commission, which, by the way, starts out at 20%. And then once you hit a lifetime, once you sell 1,500 in personal volume, and you might do that in your first month, and some people might do that in their first year, whatever it takes for you, then you jump up to 25% commission. And you're always there. We don't take that away. And you continue to earn on higher commission levels and bonuses if you do have a team, but you can be, perfectly fine and successful, especially if you're building a business around schools without that team and just focusing on that 25% commission. We do training calls. We do lots of different calls. We communicate from the corporate level with our ambassadors every other week in webinars. We have already had one national sales conference, and we are in the throes of planning our second. We call it our Fiesta, Fundanoodle Fiesta, and we do it in February. All that alliteration, because I'm crazy like that. I kind of get off like that stuff. But first weekend of February, everybody will be back here in Charlotte for our second annual Fiesta. And the coolest part about this one is last year, because we were so new, it was all outside guest speakers coming in. And this year, pretty much almost all of our agenda is being led by our lead, our really strong lead ambassadors, because they are all experts in different areas, and many of them are working together, and they're coming in with their backgrounds from OTs and teachers and social media experts and past direct sales experience, and they're just laying it all out there for you to be successful. So I'm super excited about that and the way that that's shaping up for February. So like I said, I can't, I know it's all over here. If you have any specific questions or anything, you guys can ask, or you can reach out to any of these ambassadors who've been commenting in. One of the reasons we try to do lives or webinars like this, every other month or so to talk about the program, just so if, we know there's a lot of people that have had their eye on us for a while, and you're kind of like, this is new, is it going to last? Well, totally it's going to last. And what do I think about something like this? So we like to do these so you can hear kind of the same things again that you might have heard before, or maybe pick up something new. And we also like to do things like this when we have some type of special going on. And we do have a very special ambassador offering right now, and it ends on Thursday. It ends the end of the month. And we have two different kits that you can buy to kick off your ambassador program. We have a junior kit that's $115 that has a sampling of the products. And then we have a senior kit that's $175 that has all of the core pieces. Not everything yet, because we've introduced some new things, and we'll be updating our kits and having some different levels of kits rolling out in 2018. But for right now, what we call our senior ambassador kit, has pretty much everything you need to really hit the ground running. It's typically $175, which is significantly reduced. But from now until Thursday, it is dropped to, we have taken 20% off, and it's only $140. So we wanted to do another one of these tonight, because we've heard from several folks around the area that they were really interested in this offer. I did catch this one question, Julie. We have about 150 right now across the country. I meant to pull the report before I got on to see what states where we were still, that we didn't have anybody where you could be first. But I'm here to tell you, we're in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where we're based. And we do have, the highest concentration of ambassadors are in this greater area. And our Charlotte ambassadors can tell you how many, we are nowhere near saturation even in this market, because we have so many opportunities. I'm constantly posting opportunities, and there's still not enough people to reach out, for all the different shows and opportunities. So nowhere are we saturated by any stretch of the imagination, but it's cool. Like here in Charlotte, we have some pockets in Ohio and Iowa, and in the Virginia, Maryland area, where we're starting to get a good concentration of folks who are working together really well. And that's one of the things that I love the most about these ambassadors, is that everybody's working together. It truly is this whole "a rising tide lifts all ships," and everybody's really willing to work together. We have so many cross teams that do events together all the time, that it's really great, to see that and see how so people can work together and do some of these big shows. Like we just did a bunch of the great homeschool conferences, and it worked for everyone because these different teams were all working together to make it happen, and it was real successful there. Any other questions there? Didn't want to take, I was going to try to keep it right here around 30 minutes. My ambassadors will tell you that when I get going, I can really start talking about this, because it is such a passion for me. I will end by saying, the timing, I've always wondered personally why it took so long to go from 4 years ago, me saying, I really think this is a home party model, to actually launching it. And I think the great thing about the fact that we took longer and we tested and we were doing the right model is also, I feel like the market's finally caught up to us. I do feel like for several years there, it was like we were pushing a boulder uphill when we were trying to tell parents, put down the phone, put down the phone, put down the phone with your 3, 4, and 5-year-old, and give them something else to do with their hands. It really felt like we were just, we were against the tide. I really feel the tide starting to shift in a lot of scenarios. I feel it from the teachers' standpoint, because they're really now seeing it. I mean, it's only been 6 years since the iPad's been, it's not that long of a time. So now teachers are really starting to see, coming into kindergarten, kids that have been exposed to this technology in lieu of hands-on learning from the earliest stages. And they're really starting to see the impact. And we don't know what that looks like, long term. Think about it. One of my favorite scenes in the movie Hidden Figures is when she's up on that ladder in her cute little pencil skirt and her high heels, but she's up on that ladder and that huge chalkboard, and she's writing that mammoth equation to bring, to land that spaceship. And I thought I wanted to stand up in the movie theater and take a picture, because I'm like, that hasn't changed. That still exists. If you want your child to be a scientist and you want your child, they still write. It's not just all computers. They have to write out equations. And when you have a kindergartner being like, I don't want to write. I don't want to do math. I don't want to write my letters because it hurts. It doesn't mean they're struggling as a student. It means you didn't take the time to develop the muscles of their hand, because you thought giving them an app that they could trace the A on was enough. And unfortunately, it's not. And that's our job as ambassadors, is to kind of guide parents to that and say, this is awesome and it has its place, but this is better when you're 3 and 4 and 5, and this is what they need to be doing, and the kind of learning that needs to be happening with their brain and their hands. So I really do feel like this is just a great time for us as a company and individual ambassadors for launching their own businesses, because I feel like the market's finally catching up to us, that there are finally they're starting to get critical mass going, okay, you're right. My kid may be advanced, because all of our kids are advanced. We know that. My kid may be really advanced, but God, their handwriting is awful. Or, oh my gosh, they're super smart, but I have to button their pants for them. Or, oh my gosh, they're so smart, but they can't open their bento box or unzip their lunchbox. And you know why? Because we haven't spent enough time as parents and caregivers developing the muscles in their hands and their fingers. And people are starting to get it. And we can come in a really aggressive, non-confrontational, super fun, very inexpensive. Our prices range from like $3.99 to $74.99 and everywhere in between. So there's, and the $74.99, they're big kits with lots of stuff in them. So our books are like $9.99. Everything, just, you know, I've seen apps on the iPad that cost $15. So shelling out $19.99 for a workbook that's going to help your child succeed seems to make, you know, sense, right? But I feel like there's so many teachers now saying, hey, let's pay attention to this. This is a problem. That there's kind of a resurgence. And I think that the more we're learning about with my middle school and my high schooler, the more we're learning about the socio impact of the screen and the brain development by being in front of the screen, the more people are starting to say, like, okay, hey, that's fun and cool, and we're going to use it, and it fits into our agenda, but it isn't our agenda. And so now we have these gaps, and what do? How do we fill them with? And that's where you come in as an ambassador and say, with this really cool stuff, because your kids are going to love it. I love seeing when a new ambassador gets their kit, 9 times out of 10, when we see a picture or a Facebook Live, they're telling me, I didn't want my kids to mess with it, but I couldn't stop them. They were tearing it out and starting to do stuff immediately. I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that kids' bodies are craving this interaction. They are craving sensory learning. They are craving because their body, their brain is saying, hello, you're 5, you're supposed to be learning with your hands and you're not, and I'm going crazy here. The body wants to do this. So when the kids see these things, they kind of go for it and jump on it and take over. So it's a great time to join us. We've got a lot of fun things going on, and we're really looking for people who are passionate about early education, who are willing to do the work, because we are new. This is not going to be one of those things where you're like, oh, well, there's 15,000 people doing this, and all I got to do is open up a Facebook group, and I'm going to sell $1,000 this weekend. Unfortunately, that's not us, and that's not where we are. But where we are is so small that you really start out at the top, and as we grow, you'll be there along the way. So that's the other key thing we're looking for, is people who are kind of in for the long haul and want to be a part of not only this growth of our business, but be part of this community that we're building and this mission that we're going after. So I hope that you guys will join us, and there's a whole laundry list of amazing ambassadors that have been chiming in from all different parts of the country, and you can decide, you know, one you want to talk to. If you do it by Thursday, you'll get kind of a double whammy. You'll get a cheaper version of the kit, but we're also doing an incentive. The only requirement, just make sure I say this, all of the details are on the website, the commissions, the way all that works. The only requirement to be an active ambassador is to maintain your virtual office in your personal website, which is a $15 a month fee. And that's it. We don't have sales minimums. You're not required to buy anything at all. You're not required to buy one thing after you get your ambassador kit. It's totally up to you how you want to build your business. We do lots of our incentives tied around product credits so that people can build up inventory and get new samples without having to spend money. I do not want to be one of those companies that requires a certain amount of sales each month, because everybody's doing it differently and everybody's finding their own pace. And if you do the work, then it comes, you know, without having to feel like, oh my gosh, I've got to shell out $100 of my own money this month to meet my quota. And that's just not how we're set up and what we're doing. But this month also, we had an incentive already going on that we will waive 2 months of the web services fee. So it kind of gives you a 90-day window there to try us out and to get going without having to have any expense out beyond the kit. So I hope you guys will think about it, take advantage of it. Reach out to me by commenting on this thread if you have any specific questions, or you can always just send messages via the Facebook Messenger and they get to me. And if you can go on our website and search, put in your zip code, and it'll show you what ambassadors are near you. If you're looking to talk to somebody who's close to you, there may not be anybody like in a 10-mile radius, but there's somebody who's relatively close probably, and they'll be able to answer your questions and help you along. So thanks so much for joining me. Thanks to my great ambassadors for handling some of the comments there. And please share this. If this isn't the right opportunity for you right now, we'll be here when it is. But please share this video with someone that you thought of who, while we were talking, sounds like somebody who needs to learn about Fundanoodle, whether they need to learn about it for their own child and their own use, or whether they need to learn about it because they're looking to do something else. They're looking for a passion project that can actually earn them some money as well. So thanks again. Again, I'm April Whitlock, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you tonight, and I hope that you'll be joining us soon. Thanks.